Well, the Bawaal over Besharam Rang is back again after much ado over Shah Rukh Khan's film Pathan, which allegedly insulted Hindu sentiments. Today, the Censor Board has pulled out its scissors and has asked the filmmakers to make certain edits. Now, remember, the right-wing Hindu groups had fumed and frothed over Deepika Padukone's saffron bikini, which was linked to the Hindu religion. The boycott brigade then called for a ban on the film, and some even threatened cinema owners of facing dire consequences. Today, as the Censor Board decides to edit out some of the offensive, quote-unquote offensive lyrics and song sequences, the ban brigade is calling it a vindication. However, the free speech lobby sees this as an abdication of the Censor Board, which they say has given in to the super censors. So the pressure group, which has then managed to get its way. This understandably has kicked off a massive debate about who should have the final say in what you and I get to watch. But first, what are the specific cuts advised by the Censor Board? Let's get you that. First cut it had advised is a change in the lyrics of two songs. It's not specified which two songs. It is expected that Besharam Rang is going to be one of the two songs that they are going to advise change of lyrics in. Also, 20 seconds cut in a song sequence. Interesting, very interesting. It says song sequence needs to be snipped off. Also, they have advised snipping in some of the violent sequences, also editing out scenes which they say create objection to the viewers. Now, today, the Censor Board's chairperson, Prasoon Joshi, has said that a balance has been struck between faith and freedom of expression. In fact, in a statement, he has said that makers are advised to make changes in the film, balancing creative expression and sensibility of the audience. We can always find a solution, he says, through meaningful dialogue. Our culture and faith is glorious, intricate, and nuanced, and it should not be affected by trivia. Must be careful that our culture is not defined by this trivia. Protecting trust between creators and the audience is of utmost importance, as per the CBFC chairperson. He goes on to say that change is advised with a balanced and holistic view, that the panel was unbiased as far as the costume colors are concerned as well. And that is a very important one, because that costume color of saffron is the one which had sparked off 1,000 protests. Now, he also had gone on to say that it is a balanced approach which will be very clear when the film comes out. Remember, the film has not even come out so far, but the Bawaal has already happened. So the Censor Board's balancing act, however, has not gone down too well with the left or some of the other opposition parties, who have claimed that the board has given in to the communal forces and even suggested changes in an already certified film. In fact, they are saying that it is a sign of weakness on the part of the Censor Board. Listen in.
Why this afterthought? Great people are sitting in the Censor Board, and they saw in details and cleared it. And after seeing that some communal forces raised voices, so they are backtracking. I need their Censor Board should be comprised of more serious people than now these light-hearted persons.
ये भी एक नए प्रकार का है. ये नया स्वरूप है कब्रिस्तान और शमशान का. ये धार्मिक ध्रुवीकरण की एक नया अंदाज है, और अब इस अंदाज ने फिल्म वर्ल्ड को पकड़ लिया. फिल्म सेंसर बोर्ड की एक 25 आदमियों की कमेटी होती है, 60 आदमियों के अंदर उसके अंदर और नॉमिनीज होते हैं. वो देख दाख करके फिल्म को क्लियर करते हैं.
Censor Board will have to justify if it suggests any changes in the already passed films. The Censor Board will have to convince the producers that the demand of the Censor Board for changes in the already certified film is the need of the hour and is according to law.
The kind of a controversy Pathan movie was raising on the communal lines is not fair, and I think that dividing the audiences on communal lines is not fair. If somebody is using something, yes, the movie makers should also make it a point not to hurt the sentiments of the people, but the people should not be so much paranoid about it that a color of a dress is not depicting any religion.
Well, the BJP and the VHP have welcomed the decision of the Censor Board and have warned the makers of this film to be careful. Listen in.
ये जो गाना जब डला तो इसमें हिंदू जनमानस आहत हुआ और इसी को लेकर मध्य प्रदेश में और देश भर में लोगों ने अलग अलग आक्रोश किया। मैं सेंसर बोर्ड को भी धन्यवाद देता हूं कि कम से कम उनने जन भावनाओं का सम्मान करते हुए फिल्म निर्माता को मेकर को लिखा है कि आप इसमें संशोधन करें और लोगों की जो आपत्ति है उसमें सुधार करें। मिस्टर शाहरुख खान या खान बंधु या जो भी गैंग है तुम्हारी, हिंदू जनभावना और हिंदुस्तान की भावनाओं को कुचलकर अब नंगे और भोंडे डांस तुम्हारे देश में नहीं देखे जा सकते। अगर तुम्हें इस देश में फिल्म मेकर बनना है, फिल्म के हीरो बनना है, तो यहाँ की रियल स्टोरियों को बदला नहीं जा सकता, बल्कि उनका सम्मान करना पड़ेगा।
जिस प्रकार से फिल्म लव जिहाद को प्रमोट करते हुए दिख रही थी बेशरम रंग के माध्यम से, उस पर फिल्म सेंसर बोर्ड द्वारा कुछ पॉजिटिव टिप्पणी किए जाना ठीक तो है, लेकिन इस फिल्म के अंदर कुछ भी इस तरह का हुआ तो इसके सुधी दर्शक अच्छी तरह जानते हैं कि ऐसे बॉलीवुड के भाईजान के साथ, उनकी बनाई हुई फिल्म के साथ क्या करना। ये
Lakshmi, the movie, the name of the movie had been changed from Lakshmi Bomb to just Lakshmi. Changes were made after the Karni Sena's legal notice was sent to the filmmakers. So there are different types of putting pressure, viewers. So you also at the time had the makers change the title after the CBFC's suggestion, which was the same. So let's throw this open and go across to our panelists. Today joining us on the show, Ratan Sharda, an author. Mithun Vijay Kumar is joining us, a political analyst. Gargi Nandi Roy, a political analyst, as well as Dilip Cherian, the founder of Perfect Relations. There's Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, as well as Sanjay Jha, an author. Now, I'm going to come to you first, Dilip Cherian. Do you think by suggesting these edits to the film Pathan, CBFC's Prasoon Joshi has hit that fine balance that he's talking about, fine balance between faith and freedom of expression of the filmmaker?
There are two aspects to this. As somebody who has spent 2 terms on the CBFC, let me say that there is always pressure when certain kinds of films get passed and when there is a reaction even before the film is released. So it's not, as you said, and as your story has said, it's not the first time this has happened, and therefore we need not take cognizance of it as some kind of huge act of caving in or anything of the kind. Second, I think that someone like Prasoon Joshi, who heads the CBFC, understands both the needs of filmmakers as well as what the likely implications of protests are on any film. So he has played a straight bat, suggested certain changes, and I think smart producers will recognize that this ensures that the film does not get mired into controversy and yet has got as much, shall I say, freedom editorially as it needs and creatively as it needs to live up to the reputation of what it is expected to produce.
In that case, Ratan Sharda, where do you think this line should be and who should be setting the line? Because it is unrefutable that there was immense pressure being built on the censor board. Of course, we have Dilip Cherian saying that the right thing has been done with this balancing act, but then you cannot deny there has been immense pressure being built, and this is not just from pressure groups and Hindu groups and even a Muslim group, but also political parties to snip out certain parts which were seen to be offensive. Ratan Sharda?
A church, because they thought it shows the church in a very negative manner, though it was based on true story. There are films like Sexy Durga, etc. We had Nanak Shah Fakir, which was stopped, made by a very prominent Sikh writer, editor, Mr. Harinder Sikka, which was stopped because the Guru Nanak Ji was shown in a human form. Now, as far as I know, as a Punjabi and a devout, follower of Sikhi, that there has been no ban on Guru Nanak Ji as presented in human form because his paintings are available since hundreds of years. Still, the movie was pressurized to be stopped by SGPC because Mr. Sikka was not portraying God. He was portraying Guru Nanak Shah Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji as we call him. Then there are films Har Har Mahadev where Congress Parivar thrashed the people in the theatre, tried to stop the movie just last 2 months back. So when such things happen, we say, oh my God, it is, it's not right. But when it comes from this particular film, then you have a problem. My problem is not this. By all means, I don't get into color and all. I am talking about the song itself. Is the song not vulgar by any standard? Ask anybody who sees the movie whether it's vulgar or not. Is it an adult movie? Are you going to purvey soft porn in the films and the name of creativity? If it is an adult film, it's a porn film, it's fine. It may be a normal film, and it has worse kind of dance they have seen in recent times. Neither Helen or Padma Khanna would be blushing for what kind of dance you have seen there. My objection is dance. And thirdly, was the censor board sleeping when this film was passed? Of course, Mr. Prasoon Joshi doesn't see all the films. People who saw the film, how do they now react when they had already passed the song, whether rightly or wrongly? It means the people who are passing the film were sleeping on the job.
But Tehseen, that's one of the problems. You've made your, Ratan Sharda, you've made your point. You have certain objections, be it the color, you said that's not that big an issue. However, you say that it is selective, this kind of outrage, which is being made by the filmmakers. But you've also raised questions about whether or not this is obscene. But Tehseen Poonawalla, that's precisely where the censor board also needs to come in. Isn't that the job of the censor board? Who should be doing that job? Who should be deciding what I should be watching?
Absolutely correct. And to an extent, I agree with what Ratanji said, though most of the times I'm on the opposite side of Ratanji. Point number one, what Dilip said was right. The censor board has taken a decision, and it's not the first time it's happened. Now, in a modern society, we cannot go back to the past, what happened in the emergency of 1947 or pre-independence. We have to look at 2022, and we're an evolving society. So in an evolving society, if I don't like a news channel, I have the right to change the channel. I don't like a painting, I have the right to walk out of a gallery. I don't like a book, shut the book and keep it aside. I don't like a movie, don't watch the movie. But please don't come and bully people that shut the channel down, burn the painting, tear the book, or do not allow the movie to be. That is not what democratic societies do. So if Ratanji finds this particular movie to be vulgar, I respect his point of choice. I personally feel both Shah Rukh and Deepika looking super hot in the movie, and I would like to watch it. That's my choice. Therefore, we have a censor board. Obsolete, but we have a censor board. Now, second point. In a modern society, do we need a censor board? No, we need a rating agency. So the rating agency should say, look, this is PG, 13 plus, 16 plus, 18 plus. It should not be coming down to censoring movie in an ideal society. Why should movies be censored? But then where's the part that I agree with Ratanji? It should not be selected only for one particular religion. When you talk about freedom of speech must exist for all religions, all castes, all genres. You cannot say, I will speak about A subject, but will not speak about B subject. Then you must be able to speak about every subject. So I repeat my point. Art, movies, news channels should not be censored. But then when you talk about everything, don't make it a
Let me take that one question. Just to summarize what you have said, it's that faith and the relationship between the filmmaker and the viewer. Mithun Vijay Kumar, why should others be deciding and dictating about what is acceptable to the viewers? There are people like Tehseen who are saying if you don't like the movie, just don't go for it. Why should you have official whips coming out? And this is where it becomes very serious, Mithun Vijay Kumar, that you have Madhya Pradesh's Home Minister himself who had come out and said that if these edits are not being made, that we are going to boycott and ban your movie. Should the Sarkar even be stepping in?
See, it's all about balancing creative freedom and culture, and that's very important in a country like India where we have diverse cultures. The audience sentiment must not be hurt in any case. See, first of all, it's not the Madhya Pradesh Home Minister. There are plenty other, communities that have come against this movie. It's not just a cause for which.
But there's a difference between being the state Home Minister and being a pressure group. And that's the distinction I'm making. Is it befitting for the Sarkar also to step in?
Let me ask you a question then. In that case, even the champions of liberal ideas, CPIM doesn't encourage watching this movie. Their leader, Chigrupati Babu Rao, has said it is better to feed any hungry person than watching this movie, Pathan. So it's not just coming from one side. There are plenty of people.
I agree. Is it acceptable is my question.
See, hurting the sentiments of people is a very important. I mean, it should not be done at the cost of promotion of a movie. And I believe this movie is all about. And you see, we are all part of the promotion. This is a PR activity going on, and we are knowingly or unknowingly a part of it. We are discussing about Pathan, and look at the views that the song has received. It has received over 100 million views or something in just a few days. That's the outreach they have created, and that's actually, by targeting a particular community, you're doing a promotion is what I can see here. You target Hinduism, you target the sentiments of people, and then you create an outreach. There are two ways of promoting a movie. One is you spend crores for marketing, especially digital marketing campaigns, paid ads, etc., or you just simply create a controversy and build organic outreach. So Pathan movie has created an organic outreach, and it's just a PR work at play, and knowingly or unknowingly, we are all promoting this movie. See, even the ones who are asking for a ban are unknowingly promoting it from, I can say, from north to south. Every media channel is discussing Pathan and Besharam Rang, and that's the success. That's the huge success the movie has created, or the song has created. Just 100 million views in a few days of release is a big thing.
I think all of us agree with you on that. But Sanjay Jha, here's the problem. At a time when, of course, this movie is doing very well, look at the millions of hits that it is being. One of the things that Mithun has just said is that this is a promotional bid by targeting a community. Ratan Sharda also earlier alluded that it's easier to target one specific community, which is the Hindu community, when in the past we have seen a massive lashback, which has happened, a backlash when it comes to criticizing other communities. Do you think that these creative liberties are being taken by Bollywood and other in the film industry, specifically against Hindus?
Meghna, I think, it is a sign of our time that under Mr. Modi's government, this is the kind of puerile, pedestrian and pathetic conversations is what we are forced to indulge in. First and foremost, and I want to tell this to my friend Ratan Sharda.
We had these conversations earlier also, but I'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. I'm a very proud Hindu. I don't need to take any certificate of my love for my compassionate, tolerant religion that is ecumenical in its approach from Ratan Sharda or from the RSS.
Have I talked about Hindu religion at all?
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking, Mr. Sharda. I didn't interrupt you. Let me speak. You're sounding a little rattled. Let me speak. Don't interrupt.
Okay.
So don't interrupt when I speak.
Let's make it very clear. Ratan Sharda did not say that he has a problem with it. He said and alluded that one of the communities in this case was specifically being targeted. We've made that clarification. Sanjay Jha, go ahead.
I didn't use the word targeted. Sorry. I didn't use the word targeted.
Okay.
Let me finish and then we can have a conversation.
Okay.
The point, I'm coming to a larger point. I do not need any certificate as a Hindu. I don't have to prove it to anybody at all. I don't have to prove to anybody in the country about how proud I am of my religious credentials. It is a private matter. And the RSS and the PPP have not been appointed by the people of India to become custodians of my religion. Point number two. Now, do we want, since when did the saffron color become a monopoly of any religion or caste or nationality? I mean, this is the preposterous and absurd hypothesis. So is Mr. Ratan Sharda and the likes of him now going to tell every manufacturer of, swimsuits in this country that there will be no more saffron swimsuits available for anyone to even use privately in a swimming pool, in a club or a hotel? I mean, is this the kind of ridiculousness that we are now going to face in the country? And by the way,
but if the Censor Board says it needs to be snipped, then you'll support it.
I will come. Meghna, I'm coming to the Censor Board. There's a very interesting man who heads it. I'll just come to it in a second. The point is very straightforward. That the religion of Hinduism is so big, great and wide that it is not so insecure and threatened by a Deepika Padukone wearing a bikini in the song is now become so offensive to some people. I mean, this is where I come to Prasoon Joshi of the CBFC. Everyone knows that he was part of a larger advertising campaign for Mr. Modi in 2014, if not 2019 as well. We know where the sensibilities lie. I believe we are just kind of buckling down under the pressure.
Then we are just casting aspersions and going into uncharted territories, because honestly we cannot make aspersions about what the Censor Board chairperson was thinking at the time. Gargi Nandi Roy. Let me bring in Gargi Nandi Roy. Directly you have the critics of Modi. I'll come to you, Ratan Sharda. The critics of Modi have directly linked it to politics and said, here is politics, here's a party which calls itself and believes it has monopoly over saffron. Why, when we are talking about censorship?
It's unfortunate forget that Sanjay Jha brings Mr. Modi in everything. He forgets that Mr. Modi is not a member of the CBFC. And Mr. Jha, CBFC stands for Central Board of Film Certification. So it has proper guidelines to certify A, U or UA. And the film, just before theatrical release, went to the examination committee and they advised. It is done to many other films because cuts are suggested in action scenes also.
Okay.
So please, so this and CBFC has not said whether they have removed the orange color or that bikini. That they have not mentioned.
Yes, we are waiting for that.
How do you know that CBFC said that? Because I also don't think that the color matters, but the song is vulgar. The lyrics don't match the gestures. It is very forced and it looks forced, and that's why it looks vulgar. It looks obscene, and the boycott has only given publicity to a badly picturized song. But having said that, why do you think so many people are out on social media? See, personally, I don't subscribe to any boycott brigade, but people of this country are hurt because for decades, yes, Bollywood has been to a great extent anti-Hindu. There has been a study by Dilip Cherian, professor of IIM Ahmedabad, where he made a factual and data-based study taking 50 films from each decade, beginning from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000 and now. And do you know what the study finds out? That in Hindi films, 58% of corrupt politicians will be Brahmin, 62% of corrupt businessmen are Baniyas, 74% of Sikhs are laughable, but 84% of Muslim characters are very religious, honest, even if they are criminal characters. So that's kind of, and our audience, the youth, have a impressionable mind. So that's why today, because of social media, Modi is not doing, BJP is not doing. Because of social media, because of YouTube, everybody is a broadcaster. Today is a more democratic era where anybody can say anything and put it on YouTube.
And that could be one of the problems. That is perhaps one of the problems. You've raised some important points, Gargi, Nandi Roy. Let me quickly go across to Ratan Chadha. You wanted to come in. Is this
10 seconds? I want to.
Okay, fine. Complete your point. All right.
Yeah, give me 10 seconds to add something. That why this has been done, because Hindi films have a huge market in Pakistan, 80 million audience viewers in Pakistan, and so many millions in West Asia, Europe, and America. So they have been catering to this audience, and for this market, they have been, downplaying the Hindu culture.
That is a study, a research that Gargi Nandi has cited, which is interesting. But Ratan Chadha, I must come to you. Is this something, as Sanjay Jha is saying, a wave which has happened now? Is this a wave which has happened under Modi, as Sanjay Jha is alluding?
No, sir. 10 seconds. 10 seconds, can I finish one thing, Shardaji, if I request? And Hollywood has always exported American culture, but Bollywood has not shown. So that is the tragedy. That's why people who are coming on social media, they have a democratic right to do so. Okay? And please remember, for YouTube release, you don't need a Censor Board certificate. Yes. And it is not Censor Board, it is Central Board of Film Certification, and they have done the examination under proper guidelines and suggested the cuts, and it is done to many other films. Just because there was a controversy, you are talking about this.
You've made your point. You've made your point. I'll go across to Ratan Chadha with your permission. Of course, Dilip Cherian needs to come in on that, but Ratan Chadha, please, you needed to counter Sanjay Jha.
Yeah. One is that Mr. Jha has an obsession with Modi and RSS. I can't help it. Not a single RSS person has commented on the movie. You go to my timeline, I have not asked for boycott of Pathan. I may have liked some ridiculous tweet about the ridiculous song, etc. That is my freedom. If somebody talks about boycotting a film, that's my freedom. You can cancel a film if you are a liberal, but non-liberal, poor, Stone Age, conservative cannot boycott any film. That's Jha's point. I gave the list of films which are banned or which are stopped after Censor Board certificate during Congress era. Yes. So what happens to that? Was Mr. Modi sitting in the particular place? And thirdly, to Tehseen's point, which was very well taken by everybody, and even I agree, point is when we say that we don't like to see the movie, you don't like, but you don't like any vulgarity, don't say it. But remember, porn is the most consumed content on the internet. You pick up any phone and any rapist, you see the studies, all the rapists will have porn scenes and the phones. Children go for pornography. Child pornography is available on the net. It is consumed hugely despite the ban. And then there are crimes based on that. So we will agree to that also. So that is why some controls are required. But I am saying, last point, BJP minister had no reason to speak. Let me be very honest. It was for social media to speak about, individuals to speak about, organizations to speak about. Why should a minister of a government speak on a matter which is not his domain?
I thank you for being so candid. I thank you for being so candid because Dilip Cherian, I wanted to come to you on this specific point. This is not the first time that you have the ruling dispensation putting pressure on the film certification, on deciding or what people like you and me should be watching. In fact, Ratan Sharda had just mentioned Andhi, where you had Suchitra Sen portraying a character who looked like Indira Gandhi. Even though that film was released in 1975, later on during emergency, it was banned by Indira Gandhi. Not the first time that there is government's pressure being put.
You know, politicians are notoriously thin-skinned, and also they abject to themselves and they ascribe to themselves the power to speak for communities. It is right that politicians are expected to be the voice of the people who elect them, but not in matters where they are absolutely not required to do that. So I think that politics and politicians are not the right choices of people to quote or to respect in this regard. This is a matter between smart audiences. The audiences of 2023 are different from the audiences of 1963 or 1993. So we have to recognize that these audiences have moved ahead. Sure, social media armies are there to try and create tension in terms of either religious or other bigotries that exist in this country. Surely the job of both Bollywood as well as the Censor Board is to make sure that certain standards are met and creativity continues unhindered. And only then can India emerge as a soft power which is seen by the world as producing a product which, as was expressed, can be seen in multiple countries and gets India the kind of standing globally that makes us stand tall in the Committee of Nations.
A point very well made. India's soft power, remember, comes with our creativity as well. And can this creativity be sans a license? But Tehseen, I need to come to you because Ratan Sharda had given you a direct retort. He said, even porn has a massive viewership. Does that mean it should go unregulated? Tehseen.
No, but there's a difference between porn and there's a difference between a movie released cinematically. A porn is not released publicly, right? The movie is released publicly, and therefore you have a Censor Board of Film certificate on which Mr. Dilip Cherian was a part, etc., which in my opinion should stop cutting films or but rate them age-wise. So if it is, say, adult content, 18 plus can watch it. If it is PG can watch it. Porn is privately consumed in most cases, and it's consumed at home. And even then, children pornography should not be allowed. So I think that's an unfair comparison. Let me make a larger point that I want to make. One is, Roy was slightly wrong on one point, and Mr. Cherian will back me up on that. A film promotion, even on YouTube or internet, an official promotion can only release after the Central Board of Film Certificate certifies it. It cannot release on internet without it. So that certification has to happen. So that's point number one. So Shah Rukh Khan released a promotion without the certification. Point number two, and this is a larger point I want to make. You see, we tend to bring in religion, as Mr. Cherian rightly said, into everything. That's not how it does. And I commend Mr. Sharda. He's not gotten religion into this issue. The fact of the matter is that, right, while you have jobless people wanting to say boycott a movie, and that is their right to do so, what they don't have a right to do is what the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh said, that I will not allow the movie to release. He's acting as a law unto himself. Now, he's below the law. The Censor Board has cleared it.
But not the first time, as I was pointing out with Andhi.
I'll come to that. Meghna, I'll come to that. So it's not. Now, because something wrong happened in the past does not justify wrong in 2022.
But you agree that was wrong as well?
Of course it was wrong. Of course it was wrong. How can you? I can't sit on your channel and say there must be freedom of speech. But hey, when the Congress boycotted movies, that was right. I'm sorry, that makes me a hypocrite. If the Congress was wrong, the BJP cannot justify that wrong by saying the Congress did it. Two wrongs don't make a right. One last point I want to make.
Okay.
It is the duty of government to protect free speech and to protect art. So if some group, vigilante group, does not like a movie, the result should not be they will not allow the movie to release. The result should be the movie they release We will protect the movie. Those who want to watch it will watch it. The vigilante groups will not be allowed to create any violence. If they want to protest, surely they have a democratic right to protest, but violence and threats will not be allowed.
Absolutely. That's not acceptable at all. Any kind of violence of threats. But Mithun, Vijay Kumar, the fact that there is also this pressure which is being built. This is not the first time. There is Padmavat, there is Lakshmi, there was Sarkar. We are just citing how many of them had to be re-edited after they were released, some of them. Do you think that is fair to the filmmakers, fair to freedom of expression, to give in and to buckle in and to set a precedent like this?
The problem is when religious sentiments are hurt, a community will definitely react. And I believe in, I just want to, quote some metrics so that I can clarify your question. See, cases are generally registered under a section that deals with promoting enmity. Even though I'm not a legal expert, that's what I understand. And the cases related to promoting promoting enmity, basically.
Yes.
So, So, and the cases related to promoting enmity have gone up by a large percentage in the last few years. This essentially means targeting religion has become more and more common, and because that gives media attention. And we have seen plenty of ads that target religion and gain massive outreach. There was a poster of Goddess Kali smoking cigarette, and this was a poster for a documentary film, is what I understand. So these things, the creative freedom is always expressed at the cost of Hindus. It is always targeting Hinduism, because Hinduism is a religion that doesn't make announcements of Sarvan Se Juda, or like the religion of peace that has often reacted. And we have seen what happened to people when they just shared a post or endorsed they just endorsed a certain statement. We have seen that in the past. But saying that we don't have politics of color is also unfair, because why didn't media take up any discussion when the left leaders in Kannur, left is actually the champions of creative freedom, liberal ideology and all. When the left leaders in Kannur had asked their own members to stop wearing saffron dhoti or munda, as they call it, and start wearing red munda. So comrades who identify themselves as liberals can decide to keep saffron at bay because it's too Hindu for them.
And I'm glad you raised that question, because that's precisely what Sanjay Jha was trying to say earlier.
I have a problem with Sanjay.
Okay, I'll give you 10 extra seconds. We are running out of time. So if you could just wrap it up.
Yes, I wanted to make a point.
I'll come to you, Sanjay Jha.
Okay. So is it my turn?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Sanjay, I heard Mr. Sanjay Jha say that he's a proud Hindu, right? I just can't understand why would one feel proud about his religious identity in a secular nation in 2022. We are about to enter 2023. Well, that itself gives the idea of secularism, right? I am a Hindu, but I feel proud for plenty of reasons in this country, and above all, secularism and democracy are things I feel proud of. So it's only the hypocrisy that bothers me. You sit on a channel and say that you are secular.
It's the hypocrisy which bothers him. Sanjay Jha, you're also part. You used to be part of the party,
you're a proud Hindu.
which interestingly had also banned the satanic verses. And you know that very well. There have been specific targeting, and Gargi Nandi Roy, of course, has given a lot of stats with it. But let's stick to the ones that we all know, and we all know the reasons for. Satanic verses. How can you justify that? You are part of the party.
Okay. Short answer to you, Meghna. I don't want to comment on what gentleman Mithun has said, but if he has any wisdom, he will know that today people have to actually say things that are private matters publicly, because that is a new normal under Narendra Modi and Amit Shah.
That's your belief, sir.
Point number 2. Anyway, let me speak. I didn't interrupt you, Mr. Vijay Kumar, wherever you are. The second big point is this, that did Lal Singh Chadha, Meghna, have a song which was very provocative, or as Mr. Sharda says, vulgar, and was extremely disturbing, to people's very soft sensibilities? None. Why was there a boycott trend against Amir Khan's Lal Singh Chadha? And to answer that question, I think is everyone to introspect internally, because it will be very difficult to come on a
television show. Why don't you spell it out, Sanjay Jha?
And reason it out.
Don't play around with words, Sanjay Jha.
Why do you think?
You tell us.
It was a pathetic movie. That's all.
It was a pathetic movie, yes.
So Mr. Ratan Sharda is
now
Sanjay
Jha.
We can discuss on it one day.
You can spell it out, Sanjay Jha.
I will. Good. I'm glad you're giving me the time. The reason why there was a boycott against Amir Khan's Lal Singh Chadha, forget the creative attributes of the film, that is not relevant. The larger issue is that even before the film was released, So this had nothing to do with whether the film was an artistic masterpiece or not. People had taken a position because Mr. Amir Khan had made the terrible mistake in this mother of democracy, which I see all over the countryside on a G20 promotion with Narendra Modi face everywhere. Mr. Amir Khan had made a cardinal mistake of saying that India has become an intolerant country. That is the tragedy of our time.
Okay. Gargi, you want to come in?
Just 10 seconds.
Yes, he spoke about
Gargi, I'm sure you have a lot to say. Go ahead.
To counter Gargi's data.
Sanjay Jha has played around with his words. He's not said that out openly. We all understand.
Can I come?
Yes, go ahead, Gargi Nandi Roy.
Yeah. I spoke about Amir Khan. Let me point out Amir Khan's selectivity also. Of course, not only that comment, he went to Turkey and met Lady Erdogan and publicized it to send message to some people. And secondly, Amir Khan Satyameva Jayate, great program. But Meghna, he was very selective. He selectively showed some evils of Hindu society. Okay, show dowry, show everything. But he never dared to show the victims of triple talaq, nikah halala or female genital circumcision. Did he ever show? In fact, I've seen an episode where he showed all victims of dowry from Hindu families. And last, Muslim people come, woman and man, they run a society where they marry off women without dowry. There are such societies among Hindu community also, but he will not show. So he was very selective. Ask Amir Khan, doesn't nikah halala happen in the society? Did he dare to show? So Amir Khan has his selectivity and Amir Khan has his dishonesty too. And I'm saying...
But here's where we are going to be drawing that line between what a person does in his personal life and what happens in the movies. Dilip Cherian, I must come to you because you've been part of the system. You've been part of the certification process. How much does the board get influenced by what the society thinks is acceptable or unacceptable? How true can they be to the process of certification itself?
Three things guide what the central board does. One, will it incite violence? Two, is it going to violate the sensibilities of a large number of people? And three, is it likely to result in a pushback from a significant section of society which feels either insulted or incited? So these are the three guidelines that we always face. And I think that within these guidelines, there is enough room. It is not a black and white thing. It is not a matter of scoring. It is a matter of people who are functioning almost like a jury system to decide which one to take.
Did you face any pressure, specifically political pressure?
Political pressure is taken into account, and there is no doubt that you listen to the voices, because after all, political pressure can result in acts of violence which will result in problems for the creative community.
Okay, I think we'll let that be because that is the final word which is coming in. Yes, there are processes and it is not persecution for show for any film when it comes to the CBFC. However, there are other things which need to be taken into account. What the society thinks, what the political establishment has been saying also does get factored in, but it shouldn't incite any passions, and that is one of the biggest criterias. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on our show.